Mm-hmm.
We got Jeanette joined on IG.
Hey, Jeanette. Good morning. Good morning, IG family. Good morning, Facebook family. YouTube. Oh, YouTube. That's right. We're on YouTube. We launched the masterclass last night on our new platform. So I had promised you all that Morgan was working hard on this new platform, both with our marketing person, who's my cousin, Brett Marsh, and also Daryl Montague, who is our digital manager. And so they got us on, and I actually thought it went really well for it to be our first time. So got some sleep and ready to go for this Friday. I am working harder. I feel like I'm working harder in the middle of the quarantine than perhaps even before the quarantine, but that's okay. That's actually good for me. I love to work hard. It keeps me going. It keeps me focused, and it keeps me concentrating on, I think, the things that matter most. So good morning to everybody. This is the Courageous Conversations Connect space where we are having our quarantine talks. You all tell me if you like once everyone gets on, if you like the new screen. So we're basically broadcasting from this platform where we are able to connect with our Facebook family. We're also able to connect with our YouTube family. We're asking people to go on over to our YouTube page and subscribe if you can. Then once you subscribe, then click the notification button so that you can get notifications. For the IG family, also please do that as well. Go over to our YouTube page. Interesting enough, this week we didn't even know that there's been a lot of different segments that I've done on the Mel Robbins show that have been airing this week. Also this evening, I'll be on CBS talking about a subject that we're going to talk about today in this quarantine talks. We're talking about the increased propensity or probability of people actually moving from being social drinkers, if you will, to possibly having more of a dependency or an addiction. We need to be paying attention to that. The studies are now showing that there's a higher probability of people doing a little bit more of the alcohol consumption and whatever other mind-altering substance you might use to just kind of relax yourself. And so, that's a real consideration. It's a real concern. We need to process it. We need to talk about it because really we need to talk about what it really is all about. And I think it's about the fact that many people are feeling cooped up. They're feeling stuck. They're feeling like they need to escape. And this is one way to do it. So we know that that's not the only way to do it, that there are other ways to do it. So if you all can send your thumbs up or your smiley faces, that helps with the algorithms. Please share, do your watch parties. Definitely go over to the YouTube page. Let us know how you like our new look, if you will, with the banner and our logo. Morgan has really, really worked hard, and I thank him so much for working behind the scenes to put this all together. We are a team, and the reality of it is none of this really happens without functioning as a team. We can think all day long that we are a one woman or one man show, but we're really not. We really do have to work collaboratively together to get this all done. And so for those of you who do have partners, bless you. I'm thankful that I have a partner that I don't have to go through this quarantine alone. But there are some people out there that do. And we need to really make sure that we are adhering, we are connecting, we are supporting, we are affirming those persons out there that may be home alone, and so that they're not feeling so lonely. Maybe they're fine, but it doesn't hurt to just check in on them. So again, this is Dr. RG. This is our Courageous Conversations Connect space where we are having our quarantine talks. And you all know what we do. And I don't see anybody saying something. Let me know that you guys, one, can hear me. Good, because a couple of days ago that was the trip. The Facebook kept popping us off. Let me know, IG family, if you all can hear me well, if I'm clear versus choppy. Also, let me know if you can see the broadcast really well. And then also send me some thumbs up, some smiley faces, some hearts, and send a message through the chat. I have not seen a message yet through the chat. So that would be helpful as we get into our quarantine talks. So we came in a little bit late because we were trying to set this up, and we're sort of debating whether we were going to, how we were going to go forward with this new platform, or whether we're going to wait till Monday. But we're like, well, might as well do it now. We have the platform available to us. We might as well do it. So you all know what we do in the very beginning. Hey, Dr. Gail, good to see you. Good morning. I hope that you're doing well. Dr. Gail is out there doing the good work as a mental health professional. So let's get a shout out. And Crystal. Hey, Christelle, how are you? It's good to see you. I did see pictures of that beautiful baby. Christelle is one of my students at Drexel and is out there. So right now I've got 2 clinicians on with me that can sort of help out with this broadcast, because we're on the front lines too. We have the benefit and the privilege, quite frankly, of being able to work from home where we're safe, but we're still doing the work. I'm busier now than ever before, working with people, doing therapy, doing coaching, helping people to decrease their anxiety, manage their depression, stave off any panic attacks that they might be having. And other clinicians are out there doing work as well. I miss you too, Christelle. It's good to see you. And again, congratulations on that beautiful baby of yours and your marriage. I'm so happy. Listen, when we're doing this work, and you all know I worked for Drexel for many, many years, and when you see other clinicians out there that you've actually trained and they're doing really good work, and they're also living their best lives, it warms my heart. So let's get into our, I see the hearts and smiley faces. Let's get into the breathing. You all know what we breathe for. We breathe for oxygen into our lungs and into our heart. They're saying, the new information is saying that this COVID is not just affecting lungs, it's affecting the heart, it's affecting the neurological pathways, it's affecting the brain, it's affecting other organs as well, like the kidneys and essential organs. It comes to attack us. And so if you're able to breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide for yourself, then let's go on and also breathe in for all those first line responders, the truck drivers and the pharmacy workers and the grocery store workers and the doctors and the nurses, also the UPS workers and the postal workers, if you will. There's a whole bunch of people out there, the HR people that are working in hospital settings, and they have to keep the structure going. There's lots of people out there that are not as fortunate as us that have to do this work. They have to go outside of their homes to get their jobs done. We should be breathing in for them and breathing out negative energy, breathing out worry, anxiety, breathing out any discourse or disappointment. And how many of you have had some discourse even in your own home? We need to breathe all of that out and breathe out positive energy, breathe in positive energy and affirmation and love and kindness and peace and serenity. Those are the things that we're breathing in. So get into your positions, center yourself, get calm. Someone said I had a calm voice. I hope that I do. Put your index fingers and your thumbs together like this, or like this on your lap, or like this on your side. And at the sound of my voice, for IG family and for Facebook family, at the sound of my voice, I want for us all, when I count to 3, to breathe in through your nose, hold it for 10 seconds if you can, and then breathe out through your mouth. We're going to do that 5 times. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Breathe out through the mouth. I hold up 10 fingers just to indicate we want to hold it in as long as we can. It's a good exercise for your lung capacity. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Let's make it count, guys. It's Friday. TGIF, right? Good. Thank God it's Friday. Breathe in. Breathe out. Woo! That felt good. I felt everything. I don't know where you all felt the breath coming in and where you felt that energy, but I hope that you felt breathing in that oxygen was exercising your lung capacity and breathing out the negative energy that sometimes many of us have. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break to run our morning sponsors. We forgot to do that ad in the very beginning. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning. I'm going to talk to you at 12 o'clock. So I look forward to talking to you then. Let's go for the break time for our ads for our sponsors, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to our sponsors. Those are people that Morgan and I know intimately, and they do a great job, whether Roger Lyseth, who has been my executive security person for many, many years, or Jonesy, who I get my attire from, who has the Jonesy's, or Stephanie Jones, who has the Jonesy's boutique, and Daryl Montague, of course, who does all of our digital marketing things. And so now that we've done our breathing, this is the last day. We'll do another mantra next week, but I want us to say our Serenity Prayer, and then we'll go into the content for today. Our Serenity Prayer is: God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We say that 3 times, really to set our intention for the day. And it's really to allow us to all be in unison and be in this mindful space together about what we can and cannot control, what we can and cannot do, and then really the wisdom to know the difference. So let's start with that. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want everybody to say that at the same time, and then breathe in and out. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and out. Last time. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Breathe in and breathe out. That was good. That was good. So today I want us to talk about not only our mental health, and tell me what your thoughts are. Love your borders and your messaging across the screen. Oh, Charlie said he loves the screen, our new look, if you will. Thank you, Charlie. Morgan's worked really, really hard on that. Megan says, yes, what program is this? So for those of you who are looking at the program, it's called Streamyard. That's the new program that we're operating out, and it allows us to utilize various platforms, right? So we can utilize all in the same time, the Facebook platform as well as the YouTube platform. So we'd like for everybody to go over to the YouTube page anyway. It's the Ask Dr. Argie, AskDrArgie, and click. So we have several different ones. Click that, subscribe to the YouTube page, and then get your notifications so that we can all hit the notification bell so that you'll get notifications when we're putting more content. We're going to be putting up more content. There are many things that I want to share with you, and I don't always necessarily get the chance to do that because I then shift gears and move into seeing clients throughout the day. So there'll be other things. There's going to be a whole host of things that I've done that wasn't up on that page that'll be up on that page. So even though my IG family, going over to the YouTube page as well, click the notification, subscribe to it as well. So this is the platform that we're operating under. Cynthia Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll let you go.
Sorry.
Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
Cynthia says maybe I could go until 10, but panic starts. Oh, okay. In terms of the breathing. Okay. So take your time. If you can't go until 10, with the breathing, then you do 5. You do what you can do. And then we work to build our capacity up. Hey, been watching you too. Love you. My bison intellect. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. This is amazing. I'm so excited for you guys. So everybody likes our new look. That's great. I appreciate it. Morgan appreciates you.
Something about simply need, relax, is their pain. Simply need, I don't know what that was.
Oh, that's our from our YouTube, our HU family.
Charlie, he can't call. Tell Charlie my phone is on IG, so I'm not gonna get the call. He said he's calling me, but
Morgan's phone is on IG, Charlie, so he can't get it. The call. He was going to use mine, but I was using my phone for something else. So we're talking about if those of you who have been home in quarantine are finding yourself drinking a little bit more. Are you finding yourself maybe, drinking in the middle of the afternoon, alcoholic beverages? Are you becoming a little bit more dependent? And if not you, somebody else. And how do you have that conversation with someone that you love about maybe they need to slow down a little bit? Here's the thing, guys. Everybody's looking for some kind of release. Pressure burst pipes. Morgan always says that, pressure burst pipes. And I say every pressure point needs a relief valve, right? And we are in a very high pressured environment right now. Hey, April, my cousin April's on from California. I always say from California. She's not from California. She's from Baltimore. She just lives in California. So thank you for joining, cousin April. Are you finding yourself, whether it's alcohol or whether it's something else, becoming a little bit more dependent than you like? Is someone that you know, either that you live with or someone that you don't live with, have you found them, drinking a little bit more than they would normally? That's not unusual. It actually is understandable when I think about it, because we're looking for a release. Many people have been in the home now. This is our 4th week quarantine. For some people like Charlie, it's his 5th week quarantine. That's a lot, right? Most people are wanting to get back to their old lives, if you will. They really want to, go back to life as usual. And the only way that I know for us to actually adjust to this new norm is to go on and accept that life is not going to go back to usual, right? Life as we knew it. So now we have to double down on, well, what will this look like? And quite frankly, we could get excited about that, because many people are talking about the fact that they didn't have time to do the things that they used to, that they wanted to do, because they were so busy working. So they didn't have time to spend with their families. Most people are spending way more time in the past with their coworkers and with their friends than their own family members. And maybe you're learning something about yourself. Maybe like if you've learned, well, I knew this about myself. I have difficulty cohabitating. Thank goodness I love and like my husband, Morgan. So we do pretty good.
You told me something early on. You said people don't put enough emphasis on the life part.
Yeah.
Besides the love, it's really the life is where you get most of the leverage from.
I think that was maybe our first or second date. We were having a conversation. Morgan had, I'll repeat it. Morgan had come to meet me after work one time when we were dating, and we were sitting at this restaurant down the street, and I said something that he never forgot. And I said, it's people will say to me in my practice, I love this person, but do they like them? Do you like the person that you're with? Right? Do you like yourself? A lot of people love themselves, but they don't like themselves. And quite frankly, I think that this is an opportunity now that we have a little bit more time with the people that we really actually should have been spending time with in the first place. It's an opportunity for us to identify what is it that we like, what is it that we don't like about ourselves and other people. And then how about we double down on trying to grow those areas? that if there's something that you don't particularly like, ask yourself, go back to the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? So is there something, if you don't like the fact that you're 5 feet tall, well, wear some heels. That's the only thing you can do about that. But if you don't like the fact that you procrastinate, you can do something about that. If you don't like the communication style between you and your partner, guess what? You may now have some time to read some books and look at some YouTube videos and have a conversation. Identify what is it that is triggering you that causes you to be so reactive, right? I've given people some exercises to help them with communication style, like pausing. First, you pause, step back from it, breathe. Then you reflect on what's going on, identify your triggers, and then respond differently. That gives you about a good 10-30 seconds to recalibrate and respond differently. But back to what we were talking about with regards to having a conversation about if you find that your partner or your family member or yourself, quite frankly, for IG family and Facebook family, is looking for a release in unhealthy ways, like perhaps drinking too much. I'm not suggesting that if you have a glass of wine or whatever your beverage of choice is, to relax yourself, that's a terribly bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. That would be awful hypocritical of me, because I certainly do have my cocktail that, relaxes me. But you have to ask yourself, are you drinking a little bit too much? Is this only that you're drinking to relax yourself all day? Like, if you have to drink all day to relax yourself, then something may be different. Something may be terribly wrong. Or if you find that your behavior is different than it was simply just because you're home and you're finding that, you're looking for some kind of way to cope, right? I learned about coping mechanisms years ago. Coping mechanisms are the things that we need to develop in order to cope with crisis or stress in our lives. And technically, that's not a bad thing. It's just that there are positive coping mechanisms and there are negative coping mechanisms. The question that you need to ask yourself, or even have the courageous conversation with someone else, is, has the drinking or whatever your substance of choice is, was it recreational before COVID? Now it's becoming more dependent because it's on a continuum. And is it moving towards becoming an addiction, which suggests that perhaps you're doing it despite the consequences, that you're not able to get your work done or your workout or do the things you need to do with the kids. And now you've moved into it being an addiction. We have to ask ourselves the question, because there's help out there if that is becoming a problem. Yeah. Two questions? Yeah. So Gail, Gail should be up first. Okay, good. You and Morgan clearly are charging towards the same mission. Your relationship is perceived as absolutely stable and balanced. We try. Stable, you mean? We try. We do try. And thank you very much. We are working very, very hard. And that does not mean, quite frankly, that we don't have issues. That means that we work hard at whatever issues we have so that we come out of this quarantine better and not bitter. The next one. Gotcha. Megan, I stopped drinking August 18th and haven't thought about drinking during this time at all. That's great. But I found myself smoking more, laugh out loud, watching that. Great, Megan. Great that you stopped, if that's what your choice was. But also, yes, definitely watch the smoking. I mean, let's go on and be honest about this thing. And Megan says, see, it's not stopping me from being productive. It's more so I have it because I can't see the bottom part. Because it's there. I got you. That is really the indicator. And thank you for that, Megan. That's the indicator. Is whatever you're doing stopping you from the normal things that you would be doing? Did you do what I've asked everybody to do with your SSR? Did you create a POA, a plan of action, with your SSR, your safety care plan, your self-care plan, and your relational care plan? And do you have a schedule for yourself? And if you do, pay attention to whether or not your drinking or smoking is preventing you from doing that. That's going to be a good litmus test or a good indicator. And if you're having a glass of something, for lunch or, dinner, or you're smoking for some level of release or just because it helps you to relax a bit, that's not a problem. The problem is if that's the only thing that you can do to relax, or if you're doing it all the time and it's preventing you from participating in your everyday activities that would cause you to be productive. That's when you need to really pay attention to it and see if it's more a problem. Does that make sense, guys? Morgan, anybody else? Okay. So how do you have the conversation? I guess that's the most important thing that I want people to know, because this is a hard conversation to have. If you see it in yourself, we sometimes can be in denial, and denial is not just the river in Egypt, right? It's denial is denial, right? And we can't make changes if we're never wrong. We can't make changes if we don't see our issues. We can't make changes and get better if we're perfect and it's always everybody else's issue or everyone else's fault. So I encourage people to really do your own self-inventory, really, kind of whittle down, like, what's my day like? And am I productive? And am I getting what I need to get done? And am I taking time out to relax and breathe and process so that I am better through when we all grow through this pandemic? Or have I started utilizing other avenues in order to cope that are not healthy? If you notice this in someone else, that's also very hard. Really, we all have to ask ourselves, are we really open to hearing the information, maybe constructive criticism from someone else? Ask yourself, who is your person? If you are only in the company of someone who always tells you what they think you want to hear, that's probably not the person you need to be in the company with all the time. Really, quite frankly, we need to be in the company of somebody that's willing to challenge us, willing to, in love, tell us if we are, missing the mark, if we've, gotten knocked off our square, if we are not functioning at our full capacity for one reason or another. And by the way, guys, I am not suggesting that this is not hard for all of us. I'm not suggesting that it's not going to get harder in some ways for all of us, in reference to losing loved ones or not being able to go to the hospital to be there to advocate for our loved ones, really being quarantined for a long time. Y'all know that they put people in quarantine in the prison, right? When they want to punish them, when they, when they feel like they've done something and they need to sort of, try to reinforce a better outcome or better behavior. But yet we're in quarantine and we're not supposed to be looking at this from the perspective of being punished, right? Because the goal is to make sure that we live. The goal is to make sure that we are here to tell the story, to share our testimony. And quite frankly, turn into testimonies, messes turn into messages. We can use all of these lessons learned for the outcome, a better outcome, quite frankly. But if we're not here, if we find ourselves getting too depressed, if we find ourselves having poor coping mechanisms, by the way, anything that you do for 30 to 90 days becomes a habit. So if you start drinking or you start smoking and you start doing it every single day, all day long for several days, 30 days or more, now that becomes more of a habit. It wasn't a habit, now it has become a habit. And more importantly, if you're doing it in a way to keep yourself anesthetized and escape your reality, as opposed to doing these other structured things to grow through your reality, then that becomes more of a problem. I think that I got everybody's comments on that. Yeah. So I wanted to read this excerpt and tell me, guys, if you are experiencing this with someone that you love, or tell me if you're experiencing it with yourself, if you so choose, and also what you've done about it. The worst thing that you can do about feeling like it's a little bit of uptick is nothing. That's the worst thing that you can do. because at the end of the day, if you do nothing, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? And I think that in the rooms when I used to work in addiction, they used to say that it's insanity to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. So, we have to make change. A lot of times we don't want to, and part of that change can be really, really painful. So I wanted to read this week 50 from Courageous Conversations Connect. I think it's appropriate for Friday. That it's entitled Pain to Power. And it goes like this: be thankful for the pain. It's in the pain that we begin to understand the beauty of the ability to turn pain into power. I think I said last week, and some people liked it, that we turn pain into power when we appreciate the process. So I say that you might ask me, what's that about, Dr. RG? Why would anyone be thankful for pain? Why would any of us be thankful for being in this situation where we're quarantined for well over a month with no end in sight? I didn't write that, but that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, when you think about it, most of us don't experience gain without pain. Whether it's our work regimen, studying hard to complete an academic program, raising our children, or simply working hard to accomplish a well thought out goal, none of it comes without pain in the shape or some shape or form. Most of us would like to avoid pain and enjoy the gain. Unfortunately, the universe doesn't always align with that philosophy. There is a reason why those who have been through painful experiences have such power on the other side of their journey. It's called grace and inspiration, right? So think about that. Grace and inspiration. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have been through some pain and come out on the other side with gain. When you work out, you build up your muscles. And this experience that we're all going through is about building up our strength, our emotional muscles, building up our psychological capacity, building up our lung capacity, building up our relational capacity. What's your capacity with your relationships? What's your capacity with yourself? Type them up. Oh, please type that in the chat. What is your capacity? Do you feel like you have infinite capacity? Do you feel like you're limited with your capacity? Do you feel like there's some areas where you struggle because you haven't worked through the process of learning how to utilize, how to turn in pain into power, right? That's a skill. It's an art to really reflect, do your own self-reflection and think about, okay, what did I do not so well? I want all of us to think about that. In the last 4 weeks, what are the things that we doubled down on and we did really, really well? And what are the things that we didn't do so well? Morgan and I had a conversation this morning. And last night also, we were talking about the masterclass and we were like, okay, what went really well? And what things can we learn from so that the next time we can get better at it? That's how you turn pain into power. You ultimately appreciate the process, and the process is going to teach you what things to do the next time around, or what things to do in the next few hours or the next few days or the next month, if you will. Cynthia? I can't. Yeah. Nope, I don't see it.
Struggling with capacity.
Struggling with the capacity. Cynthia, excuse me, my sinuses are acting up. I think that's probably a good word to talk about or to process is capacity. Well, how do you build capacity? Because this is about building. This is about building ourselves stronger than we were before this. In fact, I actually heard Susie Orman, Morgan was listening to her this morning, and she was saying, if you didn't do this thing so well this time financially, all is not lost. Double down on calling people and letting them know what your situation is, and then make sure that you learn from this experience so it never happens to you again where you're caught off guard. But in the meantime, while we're building capacity, we need to go on and admit where we feel like we're struggling. And I would ask Cynthia to think about, well, what area of capacity are you struggling with? Is it emotional capacity? Is it financial capacity? Is it relational capacity? Do you feel like you're struggling? Talking to IG people too. Is it relational capacity that you feel like you're struggling with being more patient, I really, I will tell you guys, like that is why I banish myself to my room sometimes, because I feel like sometimes I'm sort of struggling with this relational capacity to, not be reactive and be more responsive. In the past, when I would have a little bit of a disagreement with Morgan or something like that, I'd say, okay, I'm going to go to the office and you guys go to, oh, not you guys, you stay here. Or she might go to the office and I would work from home. Now we're here together. And so we have to find a different way to build our capacity for grace and inspiration with one another. And quite frankly, appreciation. Sometimes it's really about appreciating the things that the other person is doing, because you then don't have to do it. And we'll focus on what that person's not doing versus what they actually are doing. Let's level up on building that capacity. I see April said, my cousin April says, I keep reminding myself that we come from heritage of resilience. Our ancestors endured and created from their pain and trauma. We are powerful people. May we never forget that. I love that, April. I love that. And Cynthia, I can't see her.
He says emotional and rational and material.
Emotional, rational. Okay, got you. So one, what April said is true. We are powerful beyond measure, right? It is our light, not our darkness, that sometimes most frightens us. If you all have never read Our Deepest Fear, maybe we'll read that next week together, by Marianne Williamson. You should get it, Google it, read it. I have read it every day. It's really, really important in terms of remembering how powerful we are, remembering what we come from, remembering that struggle is not new to us, and that we've gone through things that were much worse. Even though we've never been through a pandemic before, many Black people have gone through slavery, right? And for 400 years. So we got this. We just have to remember. And for Cynthia, she's talking about emotional, relational, and marital. And so I think that, we need to dig deep and talk about that a little bit more, because it is challenging. I would say with people who had difficulty before this pandemic, they're going to have some challenges right now in terms of their emotional capacity, in terms of relational and marital. I'd say, get some books, whether it be Connections Matter or Courageous Conversations Connect, or The 5 Love Languages, or that's by Gary Chapman, The New Rules of Marriage by Terrence Real. Some of those books can, I think, help you. There's even an old book called Fighting for Your Marriage, and they have one called Fighting for Your African American Marriage as well. I can't remember the author's name, but those are good books to read, and maybe doing some YouTube pages. April says, and I'm learning to pull from that to embody the spirit of creativity and resilience in these times. Absolutely. We definitely need to be creative. Hold on a second. Okay, I see it. I've been focused on gratitude and implementing all the tools I've learned in therapy, and my hubby and I have learned. Awesome. Awesome. How many of you guys out there are doing a gratitude journal? And the attitude of gratitude is everything. That when we get to the attitude, that's the fifth of the 5 A's, right? After you get through acceptance and adjustment, and then adapting, and then appreciating, you get to attitude. And then if you're honest, you can say to yourself that my attitude was kind of funky, or own that maybe that person didn't really deserve, your clap back, if you will. That's what I call it. And if they didn't deserve it, go on and apologize. There's nothing wrong with apologizing and saying, I'm sorry that I wasn't my best self. I wasn't my highest version of myself, because when we're tired or we're frustrated or we're scared or we're anxious, sometimes we're not the best versions of ourselves. And it goes a long way for us to say, I'm sorry, and I'm going to try to do better. That makes sense? Did you want me to? Mm-hmm. So Christelle says, there is power in accepting our painful emotions and creating room for them to exist. We are conditioned to hide those emotions, and we were told to get ourselves together and keep it moving. Absolutely. Absolutely, Crystal. We were taught that, Christelle. And the truth is, during this period of time, we need to understand, we need to label our emotions. We need to figure out how to adjust to those emotions. We need to honor those emotions because they're real. As I always say, in order to heal, what? You have to feel. and you cannot heal what you don't reveal. And so that's the labeling and the acknowledgement of those emotions so that you can process them properly and then put them in their proper perspective and stay engaged, right? Don't withdraw. And the problem is that we're in really, really bad company if we start withdrawing from the people that love us the most, the people that like us the most, and the people that really want us to be connected the most. Megan said, I got to work call 11. All right. I actually do too. So we're going to transition really quickly so that I can get on another segment. If you all are in Philadelphia area, I think I will be on CBS at 5 and 6 o'clock in the news. And we're going to be talking more specifically about the topic that we sort of touched on a little bit today. How do couples manage or people manage in this situation where they're looking for a release and the elevation of perhaps their addiction or their some level of alcohol or substance dependency is cropping up? How do you manage that? We need to figure out how to manage it, because what we don't want is we don't want to come out of this and yes, we're alive, and yet mentally we're not well, or we have some level of addiction that has developed due to us looking for a release. There are other things, other ways to cope that are healthier, and there are other ways to have a release that are healthier. All right. All right, this is the last one because we got to transition really quickly. Gail says, about pain, I met with a person in emotional pain about loss, including myself. The person's father died after 2 days of being infected with the virus. When she said, I am crying a lot and miss my dad, my response was, your feeling speaks to and confirms the attachment and close bond with the both of you that you had, and crying is okay. You don't have to let him go. Remember him and your meaningful relationship. I feel that way about my father, and I'm coping with thoughts of him surviving within me. All right, wonderful. And so that's what we do as clinicians. We help people to live within their pain. We help them to acknowledge it and to understand it. And that was a wonderful response, Gail. A lot of people don't know what to say when people are going through grief and loss. We're going to talk about that next week as well. And I'm going to be doing some writing about that because we're all experiencing a lot of pain these days, and we're trying to figure out how to process it and how to be better for it. And the truth is, people can live within us. Okay. Okay. And Billy J says, thank you, RG and Morgan, for really holding things down. Love you. We love you too. We're going to have a last commercial break, and then we're going to be out. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Coming into this space, the Courageous Conversations Connect space where we have our quarantine talks. I love you guys. There's nothing you can do about it. Go on over to the YouTube page and hit the subscribe button and the notification button. And we will be back here with Quarantine Talks sharp 10 o'clock on Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Have a